This video is going to go over what is the best SMG to use inside Warzone Season 5. We did get the new addition to the TEC-9 SMG, and we also got some changes to other weapons. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns and weapon comparisons, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We'll be posting extra gameplay content of these new weapons over there as well. So what we wanted to do was compare the TEC-9 to some of the most popular SMGs that are currently inside Warzone at the moment. So this is the TEC-9 build that we use to compare it, and we use this very similar build for all of the Cold War SMGs. We'll show you the build for the AMP and the MP5 in just a moment as well. But for the TEC-9, we use the full auto repeater barrel, or the muzzle for that matter, because the barrels don't actually do anything. It's mainly this muzzle. There's a burst fire one and there's a full auto one, but mainly everyone will be using the full auto option here. No one really likes semi-automatic or burst fire SMGs. It doesn't really make any sense. So we tested the full auto repeater barrel. If you want us to test the other barrels, we'll make a whole separate video on that. But the main one we tested here was the full auto, and all of our damage values and rate of fire values and everything is based around this barrel here. It also does state it gives you position concealment, which is not the same as being suppressed, because being suppressed means that your bullets don't sound as loud, and on top of that, you're always concealed on the minimap, whereas this shows you up for a couple of milliseconds and then it disappears again, so it's not like having a suppressor. Then we use the task force barrel for the faster strafe speed. We use this because it gives you faster strafe speed. It does give you a con to recoil though. We use the Tiger Team Spotlight, the Raider stock, and the largest mags available, just not the last ones, because these will hurt your ADS more than the STANAG mags. When talking about the other Cold War weapons, we used a very similar build as before. The only difference is that this time we would be using the GRU suppressor. So when it comes to the MAC-10, the OTS-9, the BULLFROG, and the Milano, this is the same build we use. So we use the GRU suppressor, the task force, Tiger Team Spotlight, biggest mags but not the last one, and then the last stock. Then for the Modern Warfare MP5, we use this build right here, which is basically the meta build for the MP5 and the build that everyone uses. So that is why we use this to compare it, because everyone uses this build anyway. So it's the monolithic integral, 5mm laser, collapsible stock, Merc foregrip, 45 round mags. And lastly, for the AMP, we use the agency suppressor, the task force barrel, the Tiger Team Spotlight, the STANAG 30 round mags, because they're now 30 rounds and not 25 as they were before, and that is the buff that the AMP did get. And I do think this gun is way more viable as an SMG now. And then also the Serpent Wrap, you could swap that out for an optic if you really wanted to, but those are the builds we compared in this video. So let's get on into some stats now, and I want to get into some of the more important ones first. So let's talk about TTK, and these TTK values are going to be below 10 meters. So if you're using these guns as SMGs, not if you're using them as sniper support. Like I said, we'll make a whole separate video on that if you want us to, so leave a comment down below. But in terms of TTK, you'll see the values on screen just now. Like I said, it's the TEC-9 full auto barrel, and this gives you a rate of fire of 1028 rounds per minute. But the close range TTK of that is 525 milliseconds, which is actually really good. It's actually just slightly quicker than the Modern Warfare MP5 at TTK, so you're going to get a great TTK with this gun. Then you've got the Modern Warfare MP5, you've got the Milano, which has one of the worst TTKs at close range now because it actually got nerfed. The MAC-10 has got a 588 millisecond TTK, the BULLFROG 639. The OTS-9 is still the fastest TTK SMG in the game. Then we've got the AMP, which is at 559 milliseconds, which is actually faster than the MAC-10, but not quite as fast as the Modern Warfare MP5. So as you can see, when it comes to below 10 meters, the TEC-9 can definitely hang with some of the best SMGs in the game when it comes to TTK overall. So like I said, this gun is definitely going to be very strong up close, especially because that rate of fire is over 1000 rounds per minute. This gun's going to be very forgiving. But one thing I do want to quickly mention whilst we're on the topic of TTKs, if you do land one single headshot with the TEC-9, it does not change the TTK from just the standard chest shot TTK. So landing one single headshot is not going to make a single difference to this TTK value that you see on screen just now. So the headshot damage is 32 and the body shot damage is 26 at this 10 meter distance. So that's probably the most important stat when it comes to SMGs inside Warzone. What has got the fastest TTK? And this gun definitely performs extremely well, but another really important stat in my opinion is the strafing speed. I think the strafing speed whilst firing is super important to make sure you're dodging bullets as well. On screen just now, you will see the ADS times as well as the strafing speed values, and as you can see here, the TEC-9 is in full auto mode again. The ADS time is 267 milliseconds, and the strafe speed is 3 meters per second, which is actually pretty decent. It's not quite as good as some of the other Cold War SMGs, such as the OTS or the MAC-10, but those are some insanely fast moving guns. We've got the Modern Warfare MP5, which ADS is at 216 milliseconds with a strafe speed of 2.52. That's pretty slow, to be completely honest, and it's the reason why I don't really use Modern Warfare SMGs anymore. The Milano does have a pretty decent ADS time and a good strafe speed as well, but considering how bad the TTK is now, there's no point using this gun. The MAC-10 has some of the best movement in this game in its entirety, so has a good ADS time and the best strafe speed in the entire game. The BULLFROG then has a good ADS time similar to the Modern Warfare MP5, but then you also do get that good strafe speed as well. So then we've got the OTS-9, which has some ridiculous strafe speed similar to the MAC-10, but then it does have a slightly slower ADS in the MAC-10. Then we've got the AMP, which has a good strafe speed as well, but it also has the fastest ADS time. So when it comes to the AMP, it's becoming a more and more viable option because it's got a decent sized mag now, the ADS is really quick, and you also get a good strafe speed. But the TEC-9 does have decent movement overall and a good ADS time, so it is definitely viable as an SMG inside Warzone in terms of movement. Another thing I quickly want to talk about as well is mag sizes and reload times. So on screen just now, you will see the TEC-9 again in full auto mode, which I don't really think really matters when it comes to reload times and stuff like that. But we did keep it in that mode just in case it did affect any of the other stats. So as you can see, the largest mag you can get for the TEC-9 is 48, and the reload time is 1.7 seconds. So it's very similar to the Modern Warfare MP5 when it comes to TTK, mag sizes, and reload times, but it has overall better movement. So it's basically like a better Modern Warfare MP5 in my opinion. Then we've got the Milano, the MAC-10, the BULLFROG, the OTS-9, and the AMP. In terms of reload times, all these guns are very, very similar. Obviously, because they are SMGs, they're going to reload in about 2 seconds. The AMP does come out on top when it comes to reload times though, because again, it is a pistol and not an SMG. And then in terms of mag size, obviously the BULLFROG is going to be the best because you can get up to an 85 round mag with this gun, but you don't really need it because it is going to con your ADS quite a bit. So when it comes to mag sizes, then the BULLFROG wins. When it comes to reload times, the AMP wins, but most of these guns are pretty standard now when it comes to reload times. So last but not least, the only other thing we need to take a look into when considering all these weapons is the recoil pattern, because if you can't control the weapons, then they're not really going to be that viable. The only thing I do want to mention though is when it comes to under 10 meters and using these guns as SMGs, of course, which is what they are, you don't really need to worry too much about recoil because you can easily control recoil within 10 meters. So it doesn't really matter too much, but it's something I do want to discuss with you. So on screen just now, you will see a recoil chart taken at a 10 meter distance. I managed to scale these correctly. So all the scales for all these recoil charts are pretty much done at a 10 meter distance, and screenshots were taken at 5 meters. So as you can see, we've got the MP5, then the AMP, then we've got the BULLFROG, the Milano, the MAC-10, the TEC-9, the OTS-9. As you can see, the TEC-9 has a lot of vertical recoil. Partly this will be due to the fact that it does have the full auto muzzle as well as that task force barrel combined. So that is why it does have a lot of vertical recoil. But like I said, below 10 meters, this should be easily manageable. It shouldn't really matter too much. The MP5 does cluster itself and go upwards and to the right a little bit, but it does have a lot of side-to-side bounce. The AMP actually has a pretty decent recoil pattern now. It's a bit like the MAC-10, but just a little bit easier to control in my opinion. BULLFROG is super easy to control. Milano is really easy to control as well, but they don't have the best TTKs up close. Then we've got the MAC-10, which has a lot of side-to-side bounce and a lot of vertical recoil, and then we've got the OTS-9, which pretty much goes straight upwards. When it comes to close range, like I said, recoil doesn't really matter, but if you're trying to use these guns past a certain distance, so let's say about past 15 to 20 meters, then you really want to have either the BULLFROG or the Milano, because none of these other guns are going to perform well past that distance. So to quickly summarize this video, what does this mean for the SMGs overall? So first of all, the TEC-9 is basically a much better version of the Modern Warfare MP5, but it isn't suppressed, so you do need to keep that in mind when using this weapon. It has a bigger mag, a faster fire rate, and it also kills a lot quicker because it has a faster TTK, but you're also getting that Cold War movement as well. So the TEC-9 is definitely a viable SMG. It has a clean iron sights as well. The AMP is also a great option for an SMG. It's got a 30 round mag now, it's got some great TTKs, you get good strafe speeds and overall movement, and you can also take it with ghost or tempered now as well. So like I said, this gun is going to be super powerful inside Warzone, especially because we've got a lot of perk options. And then if you're looking for some low recoil options, I think the BULLFROG is definitely the best here. The BULLFROG is probably one of the best low recoil SMGs in the game, so I would definitely go for this build right here with the BULLFROG. And then lastly, if you want the best overall SMG when it has a decent balanced TTK that will definitely perform really well, it also has some insane movement speeds, and it has clean iron sights, then the Mag 10 is always a great option too. So there we have it. Those are the best SMGs inside Warzone for Season 5. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link down in the description below and subscribe to our second channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers over there as well, and thank you very much for watching.